What's up, fanboys and fangirls? Welcome to another episode of From Recap with Love, our spinoff of A Review to a Kill, breaking down the James Bond franchise from top to bottom, left and right, ranking them all over the place here. We are doing tier lists. We're doing a Mount Rushmore for different categories. If you have not checked out the previous episodes, please go back and check them out, where we ranked the movies, we ranked the villains, the henchmen. This time around, we're going into the allies that have helped Bond along the way, the opposite of the villains, the good guys, you know, the ones that we can shake their hands, we can play around with their gadgets, we can flirt with them at their desk, you know, those kind of characters.
Everything there just sounds so wrong, Tony.
Well, you know, it's the Bond franchise, right? You got characters named Pussy galore. There's plenty of completely wrong things in this series, but if you don't know who we are and why we're going to be ranking things and all that, we got 30 episodes worth of this thing that you should check out, and go ahead and do that first. But just in case you are brand new to this, I'm Tony Mango. Callum Wiggins is with me.
You keep your friends close, but don't let them see your coffee machine.
Yeah, is that all that it does, is make coffee? Fuck. And you heard him earlier, Robert DeFelice is here as well.
I am the Felix Leiter to Tony's James Bond, and you just don't know who I am today, because a bunch of different people play me.
Yeah, I was going to say, which Felix? So we are going to be talking about Felix, we're going to talk about Quarrel, we're going to talk about Harry Strutter and Magda, and a wide variety, and we're going to switch over to where you can see that on the screen right now with tentative lists that we had going on. This is our master list that I don't think I'm forgetting anybody, but when we were doing the henchman list, I realized that I was missing a couple people as well. So we might, when we're going through here, go, oh, goddamn, I forgot about that guy, or, you know, whatever it might be. But this is our list, and at least for right now, this is what we're working with. Rob and Callum did not get a chance to go through and actually do their full rankings about
I ranked the important ones, okay? Look, I ranked the ones that are going to matter.
The mostly S tier types of things and stuff, but that's not what we're going for. We're not going for like a ranking the same way. Like of course, I've had my previous lists that I've done. I might do some kind of an extra little bonus thing where I compare my previous lists that I had written up for that. It might be on the bonus features on the members only side of things, but I'll do that on my own. I've of course invested way too much time into lists and things that these guys don't need to waste their time on. But if you are curious, this is my current ranking list of everybody from the characters. I might change Sheriff J.W. Pepper just to pump him up a little bit there.
Oh, we're going to fight about him. I like him.
You know, yeah, because he's awful in a lot of ways, but like, I mean, he's more memorable than Ronson, for instance. So like, you know, I got to put him, I'll put Dolly a little bit above Villiers. I'll kind of rearrange this a little bit here. I think I'll go, let's see here. I'm adjusting this on the fly just because I didn't go back and double check this all that much. We're going to go, Sheriff J.W. Pepper is above Shikosin. He's going way high up than I thought he was going to. Goddamn. Because he's a shit character, but he's a fun character. I think maybe the highest I can go is above Commander Carter, maybe. He's Manuela, maybe too. Fuck, man, this guy's going way high up on my list from the bottom of that. Yeah, wow, okay. I'm gonna put him. Help me influence this list, guys. Does Sheriff J.W. Pepper go above or below Lieutenant Hip?
Above? Above. More memorable.
I'm not putting him above Rosika.
That's fine.
I don't know about Damien. Callum, help me out here.
Callum's gonna go, I don't have a fucking clue, yeah.
Well, we'll factor him in with the tier list things. For now, I'm gonna put him above Hip, because he is fun. But fuck it, I'll put him above Falco too. Why not? Goddamn, this guy moves up, you know, half the list from what I had him before. So it's malleable, you know. and we are going to break things down the way that we've done with the other ones. We've got these different tiers, and we are going to settle on a Mount Rushmore of the 4 main ones, which, listen, we know who the 4 are going to be.
We could do the Mount Rushmore first and then work backwards.
Let's do this, because this is obvious. It's not Mount Rushmore there. M, Q, Moneypenny, Felix, Leiter, right? We can specify which ones, but those are the fucking Mount Rushmore. Let's not even try to argue that there's not anybody else that's gonna get in there.
Yeah.
Yep, that's the 4.
Yeah, we'll maybe do like a B tier. We'll kind of sort that out.
When it comes down to specifying, I think, then certainly might be a discussion.
I don't think we should specify types for the Mount Rushmore. We can do that on the tier list, but I don't think we should specify for the Mount Rushmore because they're characters.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, I've got some favorites and some different things too, but like fundamentally M just as a character is just like, okay, yeah, and Q as a character, Moneypenny, whatever. But we might do like a B tier of just like, okay, well, obviously these were the Mount Rushmore, but if you couldn't pick those, because like, for instance, on our Bond Girls list, which we haven't done yet, we're all kind of like, we rank Moneypenny as being like, well, does she really count in that kind of thing? Because it's Moneypenny, So we'll keep that in mind. But yeah, get that out of the way because everybody would know. If we don't need to say that to the end and go, I wonder who they're going to pick, that kind of thing. In a similar regard, we might as well go S tier and A tier for a lot of these that we know are going to be in the mix. Like, we know these two are going in S tier.
Oh, yeah. Lois and Bernard are both going in there.
We know Q is going in S tier.
Q is above everybody else.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we put in Judy Dench's M in there as well? That's S tier.
Yeah, I just haven't scrolled down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Felix, I just have down as various because it's way too hard to specifically go through each individual one. If we were to, for instance, Felix for me is like License to Kill Felix and Jeffrey Wright's version of Felix are pretty much the 2 best Felixes outside of maybe Dr. No. And I do like Felix a lot from Thunderball, but then you get like Felix from The Living Daylights, which is like F tier. Felix sucks in that movie. But Felix, just overall character, he's S tier. He's Bond's buddy.
Yeah.
He's his like best friend.
Mm-hmm.
I will say though, for instance, Q, like actual Q, Desmond Llewellyn Q, way different from Major Boothroyd. They are the same character, but they are so vastly different that I can't just combine them. You know what I mean? And Major Boothroyd in Dr. No is like, here's your gun. And he's played by a different guy. He's not named Q. They don't mention Q branch. He might as well be just M hands him the gun and the character doesn't exist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I'd go E tier for Major Boothroyd from Dr. No. I would go F because he's not like offensively bad.
Sure.
I'd go E.
Got no reason to argue that.
This is in order of movies, so I might end up making that alphabetical order just to make it a little bit easier when we're bouncing around here. But just to get people out of the way, Judi Dench has 2 different M's. We have the Olivia Mansfield version from the Daniel Craig era, and we've got the Barbara Maudsley version from the Brosnan era. Both A tier. I don't think S tier. I don't think anybody's going to disagree with that, right?
No, they're both S, yeah.
I'd potentially go Admiral Hargrave's version of M if we wanted to make a distinction, A tier, because he's kind of the weakest M.
He's definitely not S.
I wouldn't put him on par. No.
I put Samantha Bond's Moneypenny. S.
No.
I'd go S tier potentially for Samantha Bond's Moneypenny.
I'd go A, and no higher than that.
So I have Felix Leiter separate here. Let me I'll take these characters, I'll move these up because these are the ones that are kind of they're in that range that we can compare things to.
I mean, what makes Samantha Bond's money on par, or at least on the same bracket as Lois Maxwell's Moneypenny?
It's tough. I potentially go A tier for her. S tier, A tier. It's kind of. I mean, she's not on the same level as Lois Maxwell's, so I can see her being A tier. Yeah,
It's all a matter of like the chemistry, but I'll allow A tier. Lois Maxwell's S just for like iconic.
She's. I mean, she's guaranteed S. I can see that being a distinction. Yeah.
Where are we putting Eve?
She's A for me as well.
Okay.
Eve. I'm not as sold on A.
She plays too pivotal role in Skyfall.
I won't go lower than A, Tony.
Yep, no lower than that.
I'm not as sold on her, but I can see the case for it. So it's not something that I'd argue against, really.
I'm not even gonna get into that with you. Let's just go. Caroline Bliss.
Oh yeah, let's knock out the Moneypennies. Why not? Caroline Bliss though, she can't go much higher.
Courtesy B, like
yeah, like she's not.
She does nothing. She does
no.
Nothing.
She can't be that high. She needs to be C or D.
I can't go D for her, but I could see the case for C because she
I
really.
Put her in C. I put her in C. I have no problem.
Yeah, she's completely inert. She doesn't do anything in the meantime.
If she had done one more movie, I think she bumps more into B, but she's not on par with Samantha Bond by any means. Samantha Bond's far more iconic version of Moneypenny, and yeah, she's kind of middle of the road. I could see that. Where do we go with the other Qs? So, not moving them into C tier. I'm just moving them out of the way. I like Ben Wishaw's way better than R.
I put Cleese in D, and I like John Cleese, but he doesn't do anything, you know.
Well, in that case, I put him in C because I think he's as effective in the role of Q as Caroline Bliss is in the role of Moneypenny.
Yeah, I'd go more towards C.
Fair enough.
Ben Wishaw's Q, I'd go probably A. Yeah, I like him. I like him quite a bit. He's only been in two movies, but he's made an impression.
He's not Desmond Llewellyn's Q, but
nobody's going to be.
You can't be. So he has to be his own Q, and I think he does very well in his own Q role.
Yeah. So we had a distinction of various Felix Leiters, everybody leading up to Jeffrey Wright's version. I would say the Jeffrey Wright version, though, like if we went with like individually, I'd go A or B. I don't think he individually is S tier.
I'd say
A is fine.
We do have one more M, and Garreth Mallory. I'd go A.
I like him. A.
Yeah, I think he's good.
I think that there's a chance if he sticks around, because we don't know how like they're going to do this series going forward. We might keep that M, that Q, and that Moneypenny. He could end up being an S tier down the line, but right now he's an A tier. I'd put him above Hargraves, which we don't even know if he's Hargraves. It seems like he's probably sold Sir Miles, but we've already talked about that. So the two different Bill Tanners. I like Rory Kinnear's better in the grand scheme of things. I prefer Michael Kitchen's, but Kinnear is a bigger role. So I would go B tier for Kitchen and A tier for Kinnear.
I don't know. Neither of them leave any sort of impression on me.
Yeah, so I'd put both in B personally, but
yeah,
it's whatever you want because you have this sharper memory there.
So Tanner is in GoldenEye and in The World's Not Enough. He wasn't in Tomorrow Never Dies because he's replaced by Robinson.
I know who he is in both movies. I just don't think that they could just be any agents to me.
Yeah. Well, I'm bringing that up because Robinson replaces him in that, and then Robinson sticks around in two other movies too. I think Robinson's on par, if not, like he's in that range. Kinnear stands out a little bit more to me than these two, but I put these two around the same thing. I'd go B tier for these two and A tier for Kinnear.
Yeah, you can decide on that. I'd put all three of them in D, but.
And we could always change these around. For anybody who's checked out the other tier listings, we might end up moving somebody here and there. Some of these characters, of course, are very memorable. Some of them are not at all. Like, I can't imagine that people are going to have like real strong opinions about like, I don't
Kincade.
know, Manuela, for instance. You mentioned Kincade. let's toss him out there. Kincade to me is in a couple scenes, and he's memorable for his couple of scenes, but he's not some kind of A tier type of character. I'd lean more towards B or C. I don't think that he's D tier. I think he's too good to be D tier. I'd probably go more so C.
Yeah, that's fine.
Legitimately don't know who he is. So
Kincade's the keeper in Skyfall. The one who's calling Emma, the old man.
Oh, yeah. C, yeah.
Yeah.
But literally, I'm going to be asking you a lot, Fred.
Yeah.
I don't know who the fuck this guy is. So this guy I'll go with. So, like, if that's the case, then just ignore me and just put him where you want.
Where do you guys go with Defense Minister Sir Frederick Gray? He's in like 6 movies or so.
So many of them.
Longevity's good, so maybe you would put him in A, but I'd
lean more towards B.
Yeah, I think I'd put him more there as well. Cause I think he's more of like a hindrance at times.
All right, I got a question. Why are Hip's nieces on this list, Tony?
Because they're allies.
Because they help. Yeah, because they help.
Yeah.
I guess, but it's like, damn, you really break it down as detailed as you can.
They don't have any names other than their Hip's nieces, so they are not high up on that list because they have an interesting enough presence in the movie, but fuck them. They get in the car with Hip and they leave Bond after they go to save Bond.
So they do help save Bond.
It's just ridiculous.
They didn't finish the job, but they did do something. So I'd say D.
I'd go D or E for them.
D, I think, because they do help.
And Hip, I'd go somewhere C or D.
C. I kind of liked him.
He was fun in the movie. He's totally inept when it comes to that thing, and then we never see him again. But like,
well, a lot of the allies are inept at certain points. There are a lot more inept ones than he is. Yeah,
there's some far worse ones. Let's see here. We haven't established an F tier yet. Is there any F tier that you guys can think of off the top of your head?
Again, no, because I just don't think about them really.
They're so like, they're either, oh man, he was fun, or like, yeah, he was there. You know, like it's hard. Maybe 002. I would say died several times. Fuck 002.
I mean, I would say maybe Penelope Smallbone, just because like her only role in the entire thing was like
swooning over Bond with a thing of flowers.
Yeah,
and she doesn't even exist anymore going forward, and she's supposed to be like the hot young Moneypenny, and she's not.
Yeah, so she doesn't get involved at all, really. So yeah, I'd say F.
I'm cool with her potentially being that, because I mean the name itself is like, they didn't even think of the name. They just came across it from another woman that had been in a previous movie and said, that'd be kind of funny. And they made a character that, fuck Penelope Smallbone.
What about Molly Warm Flash as well?
I wouldn't go F for Warm Flash, but she's not high. That's for sure. I think I'd probably go D for Warm Flash, because she's the attractive doctor that Bond fucks, and she's got the whole like, she pushes his shoulder down and says like, this time you're gonna have to call me after we do this and stuff. Like, I think she's on par with Hip's nieces. She's nowhere near as on par with like John Cleese's R and Q, I think. But I wouldn't go that as far as F or E.
I'd say E. Just because she's not, I don't class her as an ally per se. She's just someone that works with Bond.
Well, she helps him get cleared and everything too. And she does the whole speech with explaining Renard.
Yeah, I guess to a degree. But I still don't feel that's worthy of being on Hip's knees. The Hip's knees level to me is like someone who actually just like aids Bond realistically in a, not so much necessarily in a physical sense, but actually just like helps him on his mission and stuff like that. I don't think that she really does anything in that regard. I mean, I'm fine keeping her in D. I haven't really got a strong feeling one way or another, but my choice would be A. But
I'm good with D if, Tony, you feel really strongly that it should be D and not E.
I'd lean more to. I mean, we could potentially move her over if we realize that D is like getting way too high or something. Because to me, like E tier is entirely forgettable. F tier is like
actually
bad.
Detrimental.
Like yeah, like so like to me, like Sheik Hossein is E tier. I bet you can't even tell me any of his lines.
Well, because I don't even know who
you might even remember which movie he's in.
No, I assume he's in one of the ones where you have some sort of like desert thing.
I believe it's Living Daylights.
Nope.
No, I think he's again, I'm almost certainly wrong, but I'm gonna guess he was in. It's a Roger Moore one.
Yep.
And I think he's the guy who Roger Moore goes as Spy Who Loved Me.
Yep, Spy Who Loved Me. He's the one that Bond meets up with to start going into like the investigation part of things.
Yeah, who offers Bond his concubines and stuff like that.
Yeah, and Bond's like, oh, when one is in India, one must experience its treasures or whatever, you know. So it's like he's in one scene to be like, hey, Bond, like, you know, whatever, and that's it. So it's like he's not offensively bad. He's just like,
he's better than a lot of these because I actually remembered who he was, but you know, it's like
yeah, if you deleted the scene, you're not missing anything other than a joke, you know?
Yeah. So yeah, I'm fine with him being an E for that reason.
I guess it might be easier with some of these people to knock out some of the ones that are actually a little bit more memorable and kind of set the tone for some things.
Then let's cut down to the chase and put Kerim Bay in A.
Oh shit! Yeah, of course. He's S or A for sure, guaranteed.
I love Kerim Bay. He's the best part of that. He's the best part from Russia with Love for me.
I'll go so far as to say we haven't sorted it out yet. Kerim Bay is almost guaranteed to be a part of that B tier. Like he is. There are multiple characters on this list that are. Can we try to do Kerim Bay again? Which speaks to how great he is.
Yeah, so I'm happy putting him in S actually.
I'd kind of lean a little bit more towards S. Yeah,
he's one of the best of like because all the other ones we've got in S so far are people that are in multiple movies,
right?
Which lends them a deliberate advantage. If you're looking at actual allies that are only in one movie, then I'd say he's probably the best out of all of them, or at least one of the best out of all of them.
I'd go S for him, and I'd make the argument that we should put Mathis in S as well. If not, he's definitely A.
He's very charismatic and captivating force when he's doing the stuff in both Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace. So yeah, I wouldn't be against putting both of them in S.
They could go at S. I'd be alright with that.
Very cool. Let's why is this not letting me move that? There you go.
I think that just looking at some other ones on the top end of things, I think Aki should be an A.
Yeah, she's not S tier for me, but she is one of the better parts of that movie.
Yeah.
She should have been the main Bond girl. Like they should have just rewritten that.
I would also
I'd put Tiger Tanaka potentially in A.
Yeah, I think he's a big deal in that.
Because he's cool. He's fun. He's like he fills in a little bit of a Q scene here and there. He survives until the end. He helps Bond out quite a bit. He's fun. Like I'd go A. He's not S. He's no Kerim Bay, but he's up there.
Should we talk about Quarrel?
Yeah, where are you putting Quarrel?
Well,
B?
Let's talk about Quarrel and Quarrel Jr. because they are the same character, literally the same character in the books. And the reason why they're not the same character in the movies is because they did the books and movies out of order. So it's the same guy, and I can't put him in A.
I put him in B.
I think I'd probably put them both in B. But maybe if we needed to make a distinction, maybe Quarrel Jr. in C and Quarrel in B.
I mean, if we were making a distinction, I'd put Quarrel in A and Quarrel Jr. in B. Because I genuinely feel bad when Quarrel dies.
Yeah, that's true. And he is one of the first sacrificial lamb guys.
he's a very sympathetic character because like he knows how dangerous that island is, and he dies when going to it. And I kind of feel like that part of the movie makes me hate Bond because Bond took him there.
Yeah, that's true. It's like there's no fucking dragon, and then it's like, oh shit, there's the dragon. It kills you.
Yeah.
So that's a vote for A. What was your vote, Rob?
I said both in B, but I do agree with Callum. If we're gonna split the difference, then it's Quarrel in A and Quarrel Jr. in C.
Or B.
So I was thinking Quarrel Jr. in potentially C and Quarrel in B. Callum was thinking A and B. We could potentially put them both in B then.
Yeah, that's what we started at. That's why I'd say.
Yeah. That could be a good, healthy mix between the two.
It's fine for me.
Where do we put Sheriff J.W. Pepper?
C.
C. Yeah. He ain't going D.
I think he's an awful fucking character, and
Right.
he's a blight on the movies to a degree. But it's
He's
also
so fucking fun too, and it's
yeah,
like
exactly.
It-
So I would
different
say that,
era, you know.
So I'd say like certain people, depending on their proclivities, will put him in S tier because he is just like this ultimate comic relief guy, and other people would put him in F tier because he fucking ruins the movies that he's in.
You can see
So
the
I'd
art.
say
I
put him right in
mean,
the
shit,
middle.
I had him at the very bottom of my mind before I was thinking the second thought about it, you know.
So I'd say put him in the middle, yeah.
Let's go with Columbo here, because Columbo is, let's do another Kerim Bey, but he is no Kerim Bey.
I think he's B.
I'd probably go B. Yeah. I think he's Quarrel level.
I think he's
If potentially maybe even a little bit above, but I don't think I'd go so far as to go A.
Yeah, my argument was between B and A, but I feel like he isn't. He's obviously quite a knockoff Kerim Bey, but he does get to kill the main villain. That gives him a little bit of an advantage in that regard. But yeah, I'd say B's a good fit for him.
And he's memorable enough with the pistachios.
Mm. Let's
see where we go with Saunders.
Right there.
Let's go with Saunders. I love Saunders. I think the lowest I can go is B.
I'd put him in C.
Because he's got
Down
the
to
great
the member,
relationship with
Saunders?
Bond where it's like he's
This
snooty kind of, well, I'm the guy in charge. This is my mission, Bond. And Bond,
he's definitely B. Yeah, he's definitely B.
like, Bond proves him wrong, and then he ends up being like, okay, like I can trust Bond, and then he gets killed with the whole thing with Necros and all that. Saunders is great.
Yeah, definitely B for me.
All right.
002 and 004 are in the Living Daylights. They are just guys that get shot in the opening training sequence. It's not offensively bad to be F tier, but I think that they're E. They're just there.
I put the 002 in F. He died twice. Fuck him.
Yeah, I'd say that we can both go in there.
For that matter, we might as well just knock out the Living Daylights and talk about some of the other ones, because we've got these three are in the Living Daylights as well. As far as these three go, I kind of rank them in this kind of way. Not necessarily in these tiers, but I think Pushkin's better than Rosika, who's better than Kamran Shah. Rosika's a lot of fun for one scene.
Yeah, her scene is fun. I'm fine putting her in the C tier because of that.
So C, C, and D?
I'd go maybe B, C, and D. Actually, maybe the way that this turned out, yeah. Because Shah's good, but he's not great.
I think it would be a little harsh to put Shah into that just because of the fact that he leads the without his men getting involved in the end, and Bond doesn't get that opportunity to do all the stuff that he does. So I feel like his influence is actually a bit better. So I'd probably actually go B, C, C. 2
C's. I could put him in C. Because it could be like on a lower end of C. Like we're not ranking the C's and everything. So yeah, I could see that being the case.
Yeah.
And that we're like halfway done.
Try to look at some of these other ones.
What about Vijay?
I like Vijay.
Vijay's a lot of fun.
He was very sympathetic as well.
I think I'd go B.
Yeah, same.
All right.
He's like, for a guy that's not even an actor in anything, like he pulls that off pretty well. He gets a good death sequence in a way by getting killed with that yo-yo buzzsaw thing. he's got a funny enough line with the whole like I'm also like taking tennis lessons or whatever. Have you learned anything? Oh, my backstroke's improved. Like kind of thing. Like he's cool. I like Vijay.
Yeah, I would also say on the B side of things, I'd put Paula Kaplan in as well.
Paula's great.
Yeah,
she is underrated.
Yeah, again, it's another one that I feel sorry about when she dies, because it just feels like it's not nice to see something like that, and that's the best thing you can do with an ally who is destined to die, make you feel bad about it, and so you want to see the villains get what's coming to them. So yeah, Paula's definitely on that better range.
Do you guys want to go movie by movie, or do you want to bounce around a little bit still?
Bounce around. Let's talk about Zukovsky.
Love Valentin. A tier for me.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. He's a very charismatic character. 2
films as well. Good death sequence with him shooting the lock on Bond's harness to free him, and memorable lines. Great actor. Definitely A tier for me. If he was in one more movie, he could be S tier, but I think that they would have overplayed the character too, if that was the case.
Yeah, potentially. I would say that, well, we're talking about multiple movies, Jack Wade.
Yeah, 2 different movies.
I feel like they didn't play into his character enough to be, like, B tier is the absolute limit that he could be. But I'd probably lean more towards C.
He could have been A tier because he could have been Felix. Like, he could have been another Felix and it could have been great, but I think B tier suits him more because in GoldenEye, he's kind of A tier, but it's weird. In Tomorrow Never Dies, he's such a weak part of it that it hurts him. You get like Q in multiple movies, it builds up all that steam, and Q, of course, S tier is like just, top of the line kind of thing. But then like you get Q in the 2 movies for Ben Whishaw, and he is vastly better than the 2 movies combined with Jack Wade. So I do think that Jack Wade in GoldenEye is on par with Saunders, essentially. I wouldn't go C tier. I'd go B.
That's fine.
Yeah.
All right, all right.
You got somebody
based on your thing, because no, it's just a case of like, because there are certain names here that like I'm not super that aren't jumping off the page. I mean, in terms of super familiarity, but you know better than we do in this regard. So tell us which ones should be really low down.
I am not high on a couple of these. The lowest rank that I would probably say is Carter. Carter is actually no, maybe Villiers. So these are 2 that are in that range. Ronson is, Ronson's not a thing or whatever. Ronson's not it's kind of weird. So Ronson is the guy that at the beginning of Skyfall that is bleeding out, and Bond wants to save, and Q says money. Wow, every character I'm saying other than M says to just leave him. So it's like he is an ally, but he doesn't do anything but bleed out and die.
Ally, then. Because he bleeds out and dies. I'm surprised you even put him on the list.
I think he's D.
I'd lean
the guy who bleeds out and dies.
Because even though he like he doesn't actually do anything, his meaning extends beyond that. Because his meaning in the movie is that he was an expendable agent because M was so desperate to get that stuff from Patrice.
That's why I'd put him in E, because he's not offensively bad, but he is just kind of there. And that's what like my E tier is, sort of. It's like they don't necessarily do anything. Like he's kind of on par with like 002 and 004, because 002 and 004 are there to get taken out at the beginning of that movie and that kind of thing. So like Carter is kind of that too. Carter's also a fuck up. So it's like, but the character is supposed to be a fuck up. So that's not like bad, like F tier. But he's so inconsequential because he just fucks up really quickly. He's not a big part of the plot. So I'd lean more towards F tier for Carter.
Yeah, I'd say so.
He's just the stop touching your ear that guy, And Villiers is just Bill Tanner, but we didn't want to go with Bill Tanner. And we just have the guy has no memorable lines. You couldn't even really tell if he's in a scene. Like, I'd go F tier for Villiers.
Yeah, that's fine.
And there's some other ones in here that could be potentially low too. I don't know if I'd put F tier for anybody, but like Willard White, I hate Willard White. So Willard White, if you guys don't remember, he is Jimmy Dean, the sausage guy from Diamonds Are Forever. He's the Baja. I don't have anything in Baja. The one that Blofeld is taking over, and he's doing the voice thing for. I'd go D.
I'd take D
highest
because I feel like he's more like his actual characteristics are quite memorable.
Like his character sucks, but he's in a goofy ass movie.
Yeah, and I feel like that his actual performance isn't bad. The character's not great, obviously, and he's not exactly a great ally in the sense that like he's like. I would say he was a detriment to Bond, but he's like, oh, you rescued me. I'm kind of done here. That kind of attitude, really. So, but yeah. So yeah, I'd say D just because I feel like the performance was pretty good.
Where are we going with Jaws as an ally?
I'd say you can't go any higher than B just because the turn happens really late in the movie, and even though it does play a big part in it, he's more memorable as a villain than he is as an ally.
Yeah,
I'd say C.
I think B or C.
I'd say C.
I would think B just because without him, Bond can't win.
All right, Tony, you're the tiebreaker.
I think I'd go B because he does have. It's goofy, but like he has his moments. He helps out. He's got the whole here's to us where he finally talks to Dolly.
Here's to us.
Now Dolly is not as high as a B tier by any means. She helps out barely.
No braces and no B.
I don't get how she doesn't have braces. That fucking floors me. That's so weird. That Mandela effect. I'd go potentially D tier at the highest. I think I kind of maybe even think E tier, but I think I'd maybe go D.
I'd say D just because she has to be the thing that spurs Jaws into acting. So yeah. So even though her character itself isn't particularly memorable, so memorable in the fact that people don't actually remember what her fucking teeth look like.
Well, that's the thing is, it's weird. Like she is very memorable, but she's memorable in this false memory. Like it's kind of strange.
Her significance extends beyond the Bond universe into
metaphysics.
Generally, yeah.
Into parallel realities and discussions of those kind of topics.
Magda's an interesting one.
Magda, I go higher than I think a lot of other people would.
I definitely go higher. The high end, I'd definitely go probably like B. Just weird because like I just think Magda, I just think why weren't you a femme fatale?
Yeah, she is like a femme fatale who doesn't quite do the same kind of. She doesn't check off the list as much as the other ones. If she were just bad, fatale, then she'd be a different story. But since she turns good, it almost kind of makes it seem like maybe she and Octopussy should have been the same character.
Well, it's interesting. Well, there's two reasons for it. First of all, like she's femme fatale when Octopussy is a villain, but then when they both turn, like she's just like the accomplice to that. Yeah. My other question is that why is she on this list and Octopussy isn't?
Because I don't have the main Bond girls on this list.
Yeah, I mean, I understand to agree. I just feel like
you have Paula on both lists.
She's not a main Bond girl.
Yeah, she's the main Bond girl.
Though on the Bond girls list, I've got every Bond girl, but the main Bond girls I kind of classify as kind of the separate thing. What we did with like the villains, we had the henchmen and the main ones. So like Blofeld was on the main thing, and Rosa Klebb was under the main instead of the henchmen. You know,
right?
I guess so, but in which case, just checking along here. I might like butcher the name or something like that in a second. I want to see where she is on my list.
For Magda?
Oh no, not just Magda for the girls type thing. There's someone else that I was thinking of too. Okay, then why is Patricia Fearing not on this list?
Oh, yeah. You know what? She is missing on this list. So, Patricia Fearing. There you go. There's another one. Let me...
Oh, okay, then why also is Jill Masterson on this list?
Is she not around long enough?
Would she really be classified an ally? Because she mostly is just... Yeah,
Okay,
why not put her on the list? Why not?
What's it like? Well, both the Mastersons then.
Yeah, I can see that.
I was confusing. I think I was actually meaning to talk about Tilly instead, but it's just a case of like, 'cause they both, Tilly in particular, does help Bond to a degree. Maybe not Jill so much because Jill is more just a victim. So I'd say, well, if you're going to get rid of one of them, then it'd be Jill, but like Tilly should be on it.
Yeah, we might as well rank them. Why not?
Yeah.
Magda's higher than all three of them, in my mind.
Yeah, I'd put her in B.
I'd put Magda in B. I think a better version of Octopussy combines either the Magda and Octopussy characters, or Magda stays evil and it's working with Kamal Khan, or she dies. Like, there's variations of Octopussy that could be better. But Magda, she does pretty good for what she is. She's kind of like Paula level. Maybe even a little bit higher than Paula in some ways. Pat Fearing, she is at highest C. I'm thinking more so D.
Yeah, I'd say so. Maybe not even that high, but yeah, D. A D at the highest, I think. Yeah.
Jill and Tilly, that's kind of tough because they are, well, Tilly not as much. Jill's memorable as hell, but she's memorable because of how she dies.
Yeah, I'd say Jill is D and Tilly is C.
I'd agree with that.
I'd agree with that, yeah. Look at this.
I feel like Tilly's someone, if you actually write the character better,
could have been the main Bond girl.
Well, it could be a main Bond girl, or at least like a B level ally.
Yeah.
That dies.
So, Jim Fanning. This is a character that I'm guaranteeing you guys don't remember.
Nope.
Didn't pop anything into my mind.
He is the guy that helps Bond look into the Fabergé egg in Octopussy. So he's the one that's like at the auction with him and that kind of deal.
Oh, he was fun.
D?
He's D tier in my mind. Like,
yeah, that's fine.
He's not as memorable enough to be in the C tier, but he's not bad. He's just a guy. So I'd put him there. I'm blanking on the other guy. I'm missing the guy from Goldfinger that goes over the gold bars. What was that guy's name?
If you fucking ask for.
Let's see. Goldfinger characters. Let's see if he pops up on here. He's not Mr. Ling. He is. Do they not even have him on here? No, he's not Solo. Smithers. That would be him, I think.
Smithers?
I think it's Smithers? Goldfinger? Yeah.
I like the way
Smithers.
Snrub thinks.
Remember they're having a whole discussion about all the different like liquor and all that, and yeah, Colonel Smithers is giving the lecture, 007, that kind of thing. So Colonel Smithers is on the same par as that. He's just a guy. He's just going through that. So like needs D tier. I'll add him to that other allies list that I'm forgetting about for those. What about Sir Godfrey Tibbett? He's fun. Individual kill. He is the guy who's working with Bond at Zorin's place. He's pretending to be his chauffeur and everything.
He's just fucking with Bond's just fucking with him the whole time.
Yeah. Come along, Tibbett. Stop wheezing. Like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it was kind of fun. I'd put him in
D.
I'd say C.
C or D?
I'd go C. I don't know if I'd go full blown B tier. He's close, but I think that these guys are better overall.
Well, I know I'm gonna just keep adding people to this list now. Basically,
Yeah, if I'm forgetting them, add them. Yeah,
Mayday should be on this list.
Yeah, we have Jaws on the list. So
I would
Mayday
say Mayday
does.
would be on the level of Jaws, but I'd say she's the least C one into the ally. I think she turns very, very late, and she does help because she gets the bomb out, sacrifices herself. So actually, realistically, she probably should be a B one.
Yeah,
No.
I think she should be on the list. I don't know about B or C.
Well, she sacrifices herself to save the thing. So I think that she does one of the most heroic acts out of anybody in an entire franchise. Really,
That'd be cool with B.
Yeah. C, but if you guys say B, I'll allow it.
If we're putting Jaws on there, I'm cool with Mayday being on there. We can move her if we need to, or whatever it might be. Let me add Mayday on here as well. Mayday. So Kimberly Jones is not memorable at all. She is in A View to a Kill. She is the blonde Bond girl that when Bond does the ski sequence at the beginning of it, and he ends up going into the fake iceberg, she's the one piloting the iceberg. I think she's E. Yeah. She's not like, hey, remember Kimberly Jones? No.
Bianca must be similar on that level then, really, as well.
Bianca is the one Bond girl at the beginning of Octopussy who flirts with the guards and all that. I think she's slightly better than E just because she's a little bit more memorable. So I'd put her in D.
That's fine.
I do the same thing for Manuela.
She at least gets in the little scuffle involving Jaws and stuff like that. So
yeah, and she doesn't stick around long, so she's not as big of a character as somebody even like a Tilly or a Sir Godfrey Tibbett or anything. But she's good for what she is. Like she's Pat Fearing level, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Luigi is C. Luigi is the guy from For Your Eyes Only. He's the Italian dude that helps Bond out. He eventually gets killed by Locke.
I'd say C.
Yeah. I'm remembering him now. He was he was quite inept, but it was fun. But he was inept. So yeah, maybe C. It'll be fine for that.
We're rounding down this list a little bit here. Let's go back to an old one. You Want to Live Twice. Dicko Henderson. He talks to Bond about how he is...
Oh, he's fucking F. He has to be an F.
He's like, hey, I'm, incorporating some English elements to this, and whoops, I got stabbed in the back.
Yeah, he has to be an F, because he doesn't really... he gives Bond, this really small amount of information. He even gets his fucking drink wrong.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's stirred, not shaken. Is that right? Yeah. They liked Charles Gray so much that they brought him back as the worst Blofeld.
Yeah. Not good time for him, really.
Fuck him. Yeah, Henderson, that sucks.
I like that. Whenever Callum is just vehemently passionate about something, it's like, okay, I'll go with him. He's very sure of what he's saying here.
Well, it just sparks the memory of because I can't name most of these people just from the name, but then when Tony explains where they are, I just go oh yeah, that guy, fuck him.
Yeah. So Sir Hilary Bray in On Her Majesty's Secret Service, he is the guy that is helping them figure out the lineage stuff, which is so who cares?
Oh, he's the guy that Bond imitates.
Yeah. And he's the one that voices when Bond's doing
voices
that.
Bond for most of it, yeah. So I think he should be C then.
I would never go as high as C. To me, he's E. He's not offensively bad. He's boring as shit.
I'd put him in C. I mean, if you want to split the difference, you can go in D, but...
Yeah, I'm really fine with putting him in D. I just don't think he should be that low, because realistically, the reason why I'm putting him that high is because basically Bond inhabits his body pretty much, or inhabits his personality and lifestyle. So realistically, it's more Bond / Hilary Bray should be higher. But so that would be a C or a B for me. But then obviously the actual character isn't as important. So I think D's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you could see him being on par with Warren Flash and such. Yeah. So Strutter is the guy in Live and Let Die who he helps Bond in the alley, and
this guy
doesn't really do a goddamn thing all that much else.
Yeah, because he doesn't do that much, and then he just walks up to one of the guys, and then he gets put into. Well, he suffers the same fate as the guy right at the start of the movie.
Right. I think he's kind of between D and E.
I'd lean more to E.
All right. He goes in E. Because he's just like, come on, dude. Like, couldn't have done better.
Yeah, I think like he's not F tier because he's not like I don't think he's unmemorable, but I just don't think that he's a good ally because he doesn't really help Bond in any considerable sense. Because he turns up at the thing and Bond's already dealt with the two henchmen. So it's not like he helps even in that regard. He's just like a guy who turned up, like, oh god, I've got to deal with this guy as well. So like, oh, I'm actually,
All right, we haven't talked about Hargraves. We talked about Hargraves.
Yeah, M. Hargraves kind of thing in there. Hargraves himself, nowhere near as memorable. He is E tier in my mind. He's just a general type of guy. Well, he's an admiral, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, like,
he doesn't even do as much as like Smithers is much more talkative. Fanning is in two different scenes. Hargraves is just kind of there. He's more like Kimberly Jones, except for not as hot. Because sorry, Robert Brown, you're not as hot, But like Commander Carter does a lot, relatively speaking, in The Spy Who Loved Me. I'd potentially put him in C tier. He is that the guy from the submarine who is like helping Bond out in the end fight sequence.
Yeah,
he's got a couple of good lines here and there where he says about like for Anya to take a shower in his quarters, and he's like, I'm pretty sure that you should. And when like the one guy's looking at her because she's naked and a hot woman in the shower and all that, and he's just like, what's the matter? You never seen a major before? Like, never seen a major showering before? I think I'd go C tier. He's not super duper memorable as far as like, you're not going to say to somebody like, hey, who do you remember more, Q or Commander Carter? But if you're a big fan of the franchise, you go, oh yeah, Commander Carter from Spy Who Loved Me. I remember that guy.
I think similarly to the Strutter character, I think we should put Roebuck in E.
Yeah, Roebuck.
Because Roebuck is memorable, but all he is a fucking detriment to what Bond wants to do.
And he's kind of like Hargraves, two admirals. They just kind of are there to be stern overseer types.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go high on Chuck Lee from A View to a Kill. He is there to kind of just be somebody that gets killed because they didn't want to kill Stacy.
Yeah, so probably pretty low.
I'd almost say F, but he's kind of charming. So I think I'd go probably E. I don't know if I'd go as far as to say D, because he's not even as memorable as like Hip's nieces.
Yeah, we'll go E then.
Not weird to say, like, not as memorable as Hip's nieces.
Yeah, that is a weird sentence.
What about 009? The clown at the beginning of Octopussy, he is able to withstand a knife in the back, and he gets his mission accomplished.
C.
And good for him.
Uncle was C.
Clown. C for clown.
Send in the 009s. Those happy. Who do we go with next? Sean Campbell. Doesn't say, I think, a single word up until the point where he's like, hey, like, I'm trying to climb up this mountainside and whatever, and he's just sort of there to raise the stakes of Blofeld understands that Bond's got, even though he should know who Bond is because they fucking met in the previous movie, face to face, which is dumb. Campbell's just kind of a guy. I wouldn't go even C tier for him. I think I'd go D.
I go C just because of the image of his death.
Yeah, I go C.
2 votes for C. They even had to have OHMSS on there to remind where he was. Don't need to have that for Admiral Hargraves either. I could get that off that list. Sharky. I like Sharky.
D.
D.
He's good, but he's not like... the most memorable thing about Sharky to me was, oh, his name really was Sharky.
I think Sharky is Quarrel level in some ways. I'd go B.
I think they wanted it to be Quarrel levels.
We got a B and a D. Where are you going, Callum?
We'll see. Yeah.
You weren't feeling strongly one way or the other.
Want to make it easier on ourselves. I feel like his I didn't feel the same sort of like, oh, I feel bad for him when he dies.
Well, you also weren't big on these movies.
Well, yeah, they sucked, but you know,
What a
they didn't
waste.
suck. They were just completely unmemorable.
Hawkins is in License to Kill. He is not as high up. I think that he is D. He's the stern CIA agent who's telling Bond, like, you gotta stop what you're doing, Commander, or we're gonna take you in. He works with Felix, that kind of thing. If we're going C tier for Sharky, he's got to be lower than C tier, but I don't put him on E because I think he's at least on par with like Smithers.
That's fine.
Smithers, yeah. So we're down to 4, and 3 of them are from No Time to Die, Die Another Day. So I guess let's knock out the 3 from Die Another Day. Raul is discount Kerim Bey. Damien Falco is the American M. Mr. Chang is the one who is helping Bond out at the hotel, and he sends in Peaceful Fountains of Desire.
Chang should be D or E, something like that.
I'd sign off on D.
He does help to a degree, but he's also fucking spying on Bond, so he's not exactly like his closest ally.
He helps him get into Cuba with the helping him out with the passports and stuff, and he's kind of fun.
Yeah, but he only does that because he got caught.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'd say D.
I'd say Raul might be C.
Yeah, I'd probably sign off on that.
He's helping Bond understand about like the diamonds. He gives him the gun. He gives him the binoculars. He is just discount Kerim Bey, and it's like nowhere close. Like,
yeah,
Columbo's better than him for sure. So Columbo's a higher up. He's on B tier for us right now. I'd put him on C. And Falco, I lean more towards D, but maybe C. I don't know.
I'd C.
I don't remember him enough to really even have an opinion.
So he's in 1, 2, 3 scenes that I can remember off the top of my head. He's like, you think that he's some kind of a hero when they take Bond in. He's also the one arguing with M, and he's like, hey, you like put a leash on Bond, or else we're gonna do it for you. And he's the one.
He's a D. He doesn't do anything.
2 votes for D then.
Yeah, I'd say D.
And that leaves us with Tracy's dad.
Did we rank
Secret Service?
Mojito? Why are we not ranking?
Just Mojito. It's not even an ally. It's just the Mojito.
It's just an A tier.
So he's obviously incredibly problematic in his views towards women and what should happen with Tracy and why Bond should marry her.
Yeah,
but I feel like
he's a big character.
Yeah, he's a big deal. I'd actually say probably
B?
A or B.
I flat out don't like him anywhere near as much as somebody like Tiger or Valentin, but he's too big of a character to not be at least on par with Saunders, I think. I'd go more so to B.
You can go B then.
Yeah,
so
C, but I'd put him in B.
We've got that bell curve going on, which is good. It's actually like pretty damn spot on. Look at that. The only difference being we've got multiple M's and stuff that bump that up and whatever, but not a whole lot on the F tier. And we might be forgetting a couple. Maybe if that is the case, maybe there's some F tier ones that we're forgetting about. But that looks like you can't get much more stratified than that. This is actually literally on par right there. And this is only one off. So if anything, I think that's kind of locked the way that is.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
We did our Mount Rushmore, but if we do a B, maybe a C, that kind of deal, I I would say Kerim and Mathis in that B tier.
Oh,
And
yeah,
since
definitely.
we're not separating Q's and Moneypennies and such, I would say maybe Bill Tanner.
And Quarrel.
I don't know about Quarrel. There is Aki, there's Tiger, there's Valentin. I wouldn't say Robinson. I wouldn't say Columbo. I wouldn't say Gray. I wouldn't say Pushkin. I wouldn't quite say Vijay or Jaws. Jack Wade, maybe not. I think it might be between these four for that other part. Maybe Aki, because she's another agent in another area, and she could have been a Bond girl, but she didn't make that. I mean, she has a Bond girl, but she could have been the main Bond girl, but she doesn't make that point, so that distinctly separates her. But it could be Tanaka too, because he is kind of like, hey, what if we had like the Japanese Kerim in some ways?
In which case, I wouldn't put him on in the same Mount Rushmore as Kerim, because you kind of you've already filled that role.
Which I guess is kind of what Valentin is too, then.
To a degree, yeah.
He's the smuggler type. He's rough around the edges.
They're like guys that aren't good.
Yeah.
But they're not evil.
So would you put Frederick Gray, or is he too close to
Tanner?
To Tanner.
Maybe the case is more for Quarrel.
I think for me it's Quarrel or one of either Aki or Paula.
So I've said Quarrel. So if we're going 2 votes, it'd be Quarrel.
Well, I haven't given my vote yet.
Well, damn it, Callum.
I said that Quarrel might be in it, but I also think that there is something to be said about having the Bond girl style one in there, and I feel like Aki, I think is a better character overall than Paula, but it's also the case that Paula was there first. So Paula's obviously fundable, and Aki's the one that follows it. But Aki builds on something that Paula could have been, and obviously her death is. I think both their deaths had that kind of pull factor to it. So I think, gun to my head, Aki would probably be the choice I'd go with.
Because Quarrel is the sacrificial lamb.
Yeah.
He just happens to not be an attractive woman.
Well, that's the only reason I put Aki in it. I just feel like, there is something to be said about
it. Like in a different, like a couple movies later, they take that same part and they go, but why don't we make her a good-looking woman? You know what I mean?
A woman.
So maybe Aki on there, and then Quarrel in that C type of range, if we're doing like a C tier of that.
Yeah.
Maybe like Quarrel
with him and
Tiger, Paula, and Frederick Gray. Maybe.
Absolutely, Gray has been one of those because he was in a lot of movies.
You put Valentin in there.
Valentin's.
Either him or Tanaka.
Honestly.
Him or Tanaka.
I mean, maybe. I mean, he's
in 2 movies. So
yeah, he is in 2 movies, but he's also not really
an ally. One of them.
An ally, yeah, to a degree. So it's just a case of like he's someone who supports Bond due to circumstance more than anything else. Whereas Tanaka is someone who is like a definitive ally. So yeah, I'd probably. Part of my argument would be to put Columbo in one of these ones as well, because a lot of these people, he achieves something that they don't do, which is he kills the main Bond villain. There's also an argument to say that you put someone like either Jaws or Mayday in there as well,
and there is like Pushkin.
I like Saunders as well. Saunders could be definitely in there as well. I was interested in this one because you haven't mentioned this guy at all. But
Gogol?
why is Gogol not in there?
I was just thinking about Gogol. I'm like, you know what? Gogol's not on this list, but Gogol
you haven't got Gogol either in the villains, henchmen, or
right. Yeah,
Gogol's not on there, and he's in a lot of them. Tony, what the hell?
So, because it's weird, because it's like Gogol.
He's not really an ally in anything.
He's not a full ally,
but he's not a villain or a henchman. Really.
But he is, because he's working with them in The Spy Who Loved Me. For
But
sure.
he's working against them in
For Your Eyes Only.
Yeah, For Your Eyes Only, yeah.
And he's working by proxy against them in A View to a Kill, but he ends A View to a Kill giving Bond an award.
Yeah, and then also in The Living Daylights, he's kind of a good guy, but he's kind of like not super involved because of the actual actor being in bad health and stuff like that. So I don't even know.
I think I'd put Gogol on this list, and I think I'd put him in A tier.
Well, as a character, I'd put him in A too, yeah.
And
but
then,
I'd also say that he can't go in the Mount Rushmore, or in any Mount Rushmore, like not one that's even that high up, because he flip-flops between the roles too much.
if they could have been able to do what they wanted to do, and Pushkin's role would have been Gogol, then I think that seals him in that kind of range. But since he couldn't, Pushkin becomes a separate character. And he doesn't get the baggage of Gogol, in a way. You know what I mean? But he also doesn't get the positive of Gogol. So, I mean, we don't need to have like a definitive D tier or anything like that. This is just kind of us like fucking around. But like, yeah,
I don't want to do any more than this.
Yeah, because we're at a point where we already know these were the ones, these are secondary, that kind of thing. But like, these are people that are kind of in that mix of like, oh, you know what? If we ended up going through,
important. They're honorable mentions.
That's they're
kind of the list.
They're kind of like that. Like, and of course, there's like a Sherrif J.W. Pepper that like, in some ways, if you go down further list, like obviously he's going to be higher up on the list than something like Ronson. But I also don't think that there's really like a true F tier Mount Rushmore, because even though we only have 4 on here, I don't know if it's like a, these are so indicative of bad, whatever, that kind of things. If you want to, those are kind of an unofficial for worst Mount Rushmore. I'm not really going to go through and deal with that. Somebody like a Strutter is pretty shit too, and, 002 amounts to nothing, but that's the big list. That's the important one. This is the one that's the secondary one. That's very close to as important, but not quite as much. That was the one that everybody was here for. So, with anything on this list, tell us how you're feeling. What are you thinking? Where should people go? I'm going to add Gogol to my other list in the meantime for that.
Tell us what you think when you hear M or Moneypenny. Like, do you picture Bernard Lee? Do you picture Judi Dench? Do you picture Judi Dench and Brosnan? Judi Dench and Craig?
Do we round it out by saying this? We got to pick a Felix, a Moneypenny, a Q, and an M as just like, if we could only have one.
Okay.
I would say we're going Lois Maxwell, Moneypenny.
I think I'd agree with that.
Yeah, I'd choose the Lois Maxwell one.
So I'll just make them blue just to kind of do that. I'm going Q with Desmond Llewellyn because he's, I mean, come on, like as great as Ben Whishaw is, come on, that kind of thing. I would lean more towards one of the Judi Denches for M.
Yep,
but that's tough.
I lean towards the Olivia Mansfield. I feel like she plays a more prominent role in the movies than she does with the Brosnan ones.
I think I actually have to agree with Callum. I was going to lean towards Brosnan, but I think she does play more of a role in the Craig era films, which is shocking that something from the recent ones gets on here like that. But for Felix, I'd put the Felix in License to Kill, so Hedison.
Yeah, I would lean towards License to Kill's version too.
I literally don't know what you see in that one. He just gets eaten by a shark, so it's like.
Well, he's just a big part of it, though.
I'd definitely go Jeffrey Wright's one.
I wish Jeffrey Wright's had more. He was supposed to have more in Quantum of Solace, but of course the writer's strike fucked that over. But
I don't think he exudes more cool than any other Leiter that we've seen so far.
I know my least favorite Leiter in a lot of ways is the one from The Living Daylights, and I've never liked the Felix Leiter from Goldfinger. I really don't like the Felix Leiter from Diamonds Are Forever. You know, there's not a lot of great Felix Leiters, but the character himself is just so far up there. So if you agree or disagree, drop your thoughts in the comments section below. Tell us what you're thinking. Where would you rank some of these characters? Am I missing anybody? If so, let me know, because then I'll add that eventually on this list, which will be available for everybody to check out in some fashion, most likely embedded on a page on fanboysanonymous.com. So down the line, if you're listening to this like weeks or months or years or something after we do this, we'll have more characters too, because by that point, No Time to Die will have come out. And when that movie does come out, we're going to revisit these kind of things too. So if we've got some characters in that, like Nomi, for instance, we have no idea how Nomi is going to play out. She may or may not be 007. And that could be something that we factor in is like, oh shit, well, she's 007. So how do we rank that element of her? And, you know, obviously we can't rank future movies yet because we haven't seen them. So for the purposes of this video, this is how this is playing out, but we'll add more as time goes on. We'll maybe do some kind of like a piggyback off of it with No Time to Die, where we go, all right, well, now how are we going to rank these characters based off of that or something? We'll figure that out when time comes in a couple months. But drop your thoughts in the comment section below and tell us your thoughts on what we've done here and how your lists would play out and anything else that you want to chime in on. While you're over there dropping that comment, hit the like button, hit the share button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that already. Ring that little notification bell as well, so that way you get alerted of when these videos go up. And if we do live content, or if we have like a live watch along, or anything on the fan track side of things like that, browse around, see what other stuff is on this channel that you're interested in. We might do fan tracks for like a Bond film. I know that Rob was saying, hey, do you want to watch Diamonds Are Forever and do a fan track?
I want to do a Diamonds fan track with you, Tony.
Because it's so fucking weird.
It's
like
so ridiculous.
You know?
Spend the whole time laughing.
We might end up doing that, even if it's on the members only side of things, which if you want to be a part of the members only stuff, hit the join button. That's up on the page. And that's the same as the Patreon. So if you go to patreon.com/fanboysanonymous, you will see the same different tiers there. If you want to make sure that we do something in particular, if you're really enjoying the Review to a Kill franchise, the Review to a Kill series, and you want us to talk more about the James Bond franchise, then take advantage of the Pick Your Poison tier. You can request that we do, for instance, the Johnny English series that I know that some people have said like that they want us to watch. And maybe you've got an idea of like a different tier list that you want us to do or whatever it might be. I don't know. Toss out those and follow and like and share and do all that kind of good stuff. If you are interested in pro wrestling, check out smartoutmoment.com. Follow everything that's happening over on there. That's my other website. You can follow me and all my whatever else exploits are on social media on Tony Mango. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter and kind of stay tuned with that kind of stuff and follow what these guys have going on as well. Callum is over there at Wigmeister14.
Yep, at Wigmeister14 on Twitter, and check out smartcomoment.com and everything that we're doing over on the Smartco Moment YouTube channel and podcast feeds. Every episode of Smack Talk, everything that's coming out, both past, present, and future. Check all that stuff out.
Yeah, and you can follow me on Twitter at DudeFelice, especially if you like the pro wrestling side of things. Check out Fightful, check out WrestleZone, check out everything I'm doing everywhere at DudeFelice. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, wherever it is, you'll find me there. And yeah, thank you for supporting.
Alrighty, everybody, that is another one of these tier lists and Mount Rushmores down the pipeline. We've got a couple more. We are going to take care of the Bond girls. We're going to do the theme songs. We're going to talk gadgets. We're going to talk opening sequences. So whatever one is next, we will see you in that one. Check out the other ones if you haven't seen them already. And that's it for now, everyone. The Review to a Kill series will return with the next tier list.